this button and then say, yo, what up? How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. How are you?
I'm well. I'm very, very well. All for One. One of my favorite characters out of set 3, or set 4, excuse me. What an unbelievably cool guy.
Yeah, he's interesting.
He is way better than like my first initial read. I'm very happy. And we're playing on a symbol that truthfully I haven't played yet. So hit me with the pitch. What's going on with this All for One deck?
So the main kind of inspiration was that I share my cards with my son, and he's a big Denki fan. So he's playing Chaos Denki. So all the good cards are in his deck. So like my Chivalrouses and my One with Natures, and
right,
1.3 millions and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, what can I make with what I've got left? And I'm like, what symbols have I never played with before? I've never done a Void deck. Okay, let's do Void. I remember some cringy streamer talking about how they loved the Void kicks recently. So I'm like, okay, let's give that a try. Never done it.
Hurtful,
so
but acceptable.
I plunged this list together. And then I thought, okay, there's the kicks. What character? They're quite fast. All for one puts damage on face. Let's go with that. And that was pretty much it. And then I came across Take Swing. I'm like, that seems to work quite well with him.
Yeah. I think that is completely and totally fair. So what do you need my help with?
So again, I've never done Void stuff. I've never done kick stuff. I've done a bit of playtesting with it, and it's doing okay. The attacks, I think I'm fairly happy with, apart from Frenzy. It's sort of the best bad option in that slot, I think. And I guess the split between Burst and Reciprocal Acceleration. Everything else is sort of doing what it needs to do. And then the foundations wise, that's the bit that's changed the most. I guess the thing I probably need the most help with. Because he needs to be able to defend, right? He needs to be able to survive turn 2. Like, it's not a fast string deck. That's not what he does. Like, you've either got the inevitability of like just poking the kicks and then just bursting them, or just take swimming every turn. So it's getting that foundation lineup right.
That's
I
fair.
think is probably the main thing.
Okay, I'm into it.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just like a lack of experience of playing this sort of deck and trying to tap into yours.
Yeah, I keep seeing people be really big on this All for One kicks, because like, I mean, he does just like snap a free momentum with Reciprocal Burst, and feels really good to just play Rebound Psychic every turn. And like, if you touch them with if they don't respect your Reciprocal Extends, you just get to play it again next turn. Yep. A lot of really cool momentum recursion is allowed here, which I like. I think that's very, very neat.
Yeah, and just recurring Take Swing every turn seems rude. Because you just put 3, 4, 5 damage on it every turn. It's like, you're gonna die eventually.
Question for you: how much have you playtested this deck in particular?
Probably like 3 or 4 sets. Not in this lineup. This has been tweaked since that. So there was a different line that I've tested. I haven't tested this exact list.
And Tape Swing has felt good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like the second line, right? The first line is the kicks. The second is, I'm just going to take swing you every turn and defend. And, you're going to take chunks of 5, then you'll die.
Yeah, my biggest concern here, truthfully, is the fact that it's just a 2-check, and like your kill strings want to be playing this on like a 7 or an 8, and then blow them out. Yep. And checking the 2 on that just means you get to just, I don't know, lose the game.
That has absolutely happened.
Yeah, but if you are winning more often than you are losing, then I guess that's an acceptable exchange rate. Like that's a fine rate, as long as you're happy with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being a cute thing that isn't actually good, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's felt good so far.
Sure. I think that's completely acceptable. I noticed you're not playing any actions or assets. Are you just like, do you just like hate those cards, or just nothing caught your attention?
Yeah, I think when I was looking through them, nothing felt like it should be in there. But again, I'm open to what it is.
Sure. Yeah, I think we could get. I mean, the only thing I could see is like us playing like a race is like just a good card, right?
Hmm.
Imagine you use all for one, you stick an action in your momentum early in the game, and then like on the turn you decide you want to go in, you just respond and then pick up your erase and be like, okay, I've got this trick out of my hand, or that, or engine trouble, right? Like both just
Yeah,
like cheeky moves of like, oh, this is a thing, or even like we're looking at the new stuff like hold hostage, right? Um,
yeah. Hold hostage did intrigue me. Again, a card I might test, and I think because I did take this to a locals, did okay with it, and had some blood curdles in the side, but I never played them, so I don't know how good they actually are.
Sure, I forgot Blood Curdle's a card. Yeah, that's that. Like, I think that line is really really cool. The other thing you get to do here is like living up to his example says that you just discard a card for this EX, right? As just like an action that you get to do. Um, and so like tucking that away and then it being a cantrip of like it replaces itself and like you're okay with it. The issue is playing this 3 diff on some other number is just like a little scary, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've pulled out some cards and we get to chit chat about them. So
Mhm.
the first thing that I am going to talk about is just the attack lineup, right? And just the choices that we
Yeah.
have here. Rising Engine Kick. I think this card is super, super stellar. I have been a big fan of play Rising Engine Kick and make this card threatening. You could commit the foundation to make them discard the momentum or not. That feels really good, especially on your symbol because you don't really have momentum hate. And then
Yeah.
play Reciprocal Acceleration Kick or Engine Burst on their printed, right? -2 difficulty. Like going extend into engine into Reciprocal Acceleration Kick is check a 4, check a 5, check a 5
Yeah.
for 4 plus X and then 6 plus X, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
and then 6 plus X, just a ton of damage. The only issue is it's that 2 check that we have going on here, right? But this is a 5 diff 2 check. This is a 4 diff 2 check. This gets rid of their momentum and has EX and has a low block as opposed to this having the high block is essentially a throw and like they have different jobs, right? But I just wanted to put it on the table.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case of those probably swapping in and out as you test and decide which one you want to go
Yeah.
with. I think I don't think you play both. I mean, I could
Totally
see
agree.
maybe playing like a single tape swing just as a if I get it, then I can loop it. Otherwise, I don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Engine Boost is my next one. So it is just always a 6 mid for 6. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always have the momentum to pay for it, and then it gets that momentum back. As long as you are down to just like get rid of the momentum that you initially paid for, you know?
Yeah.
And then my last 2 are Binding Kick, which is just like an instant replacement for Hardened Frenzy. I like Frenzy because of your character's idea of if full blocked, build it. So it's a third of a damage essentially. Or we have Binding Kick where if it's not fully blocked, you draw a card, and so you're no longer a 6-hander, you're a 7-hander. If we go for the Frenzy route, I think the easiest thing to do instantly is replace Tape Swing with Hardened Jab. I think this card in tandem with Frenzy is so ultra powerful, combined with what Male Bonding is doing, combined with what Manly Passionate Guy is doing, combined with calling for backup to draw the card, combined with like there's so many things that you'll have face downs. So picking up that face down, rebuilding it, doing the thing, not caring about this punch package is not caring about the kick package is good. And I think that this card, pound for pound, is a better flow card than this card is a poke card, you know?
Yeah.
And also this thing demands a block out of them because it starts at 5 damage. It's probably gonna be like a 3 mid for 7, right? On average, right? If you've built 6, which is just like the normal build, right? Like turn 2, 3 mid for 7, and just swing these over and over again. Like think about how good blank jabs are when you accidentally find 3 of them, right? And you go jab, 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 and then it's like +2, +2, +2, 3 mid 7, 7, 7. That kills a 7-hander.
Yeah.
That combined with how good it is with Frenzy, I think just is better than what Tape has to do. And I think Tape is one of those, no pun intended, swingy power cards. This is I'm gonna play 7 rounds in a tournament and have consistency type of a card.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I probably just discounted it because it didn't have the kick keyword. But the only thing that really, I mean, I suppose I've only got the one acceleration kick, and then it's just the extends.
Yeah.
And I've got enough other stuff going on that, again, playing some jabs would be fine.
So the other thing, right, is you go extend. My next kick has 2/2. I go into jab. Do you block the jab knowing that the third kick you're going to play has 2/2? The answer is no. And then you build 3 pass. And you're looking to go, I got away with a 7 damage jab. This thing, the extend, did its job of you didn't block the extend, you didn't block the jab because you were afraid of that extra kick coming. And so, like, you just didn't do the thing you wanted to do, which was defend yourself. Okay, well, this turn, I domed you for 6, 7, 13 damage, and then stole 2 momentum plus the 1 I got for free. If I have Reciprocal Burst next turn, you're just dead. You're just dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see jab just being a lot more consistent than the cuteness of Tape Swing.
Yeah, and it says your frenzies are just like they just go Super Saiyan. If anybody ever falls for your frenzy trap, you just murder them. You murder them, and it's not close. Which means that your frenzies always hit, which is like great, super down.
Yeah.
Onto the foundations, the only ones that I really saw were things like Exhausted Exclamation. This solely depends on how often you're using this Enhance Commit Discard Momentum. When I was playing the Chaos build, I wasn't using it very often, but I don't know what the Void or Evil builds look like, if it really cares about that idea.
It doesn't. Like, I've used it as it's an emergency button, right? And obviously my block zones are fairly mid-centric. So that kind of works with that as well. But I've got the tapes that help with that, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to stack like 3, 4, 5, 6 momentum and then just burst them to death.
Yeah. Ooh, hit a shimmer. Fusion. +2 or -2 speed. Just feels great. Fruits of Our Labors is just a good low block card. Dissolving the conflict keeps you alive, and then if we added actions, right? If we decided to go for the maybe a little bit bigger, more of a control deck, erasing damage reset or erasing speed resets is really good, and so it's canceling them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think this card is very good, especially at protecting your combo, or protecting the strategy of your deck. But the thing is we do have to quote unquote bloat our deck with cards.
Okay.
So let's talk about the cards that in your main board that I don't like. Spooky. Why is Spooky in here?
It's a one-off. It's a card that when it's good, it's really good, and then sometimes it's just a blank 2, 3, 5. It's just sort of a sort of defensive piece that, again, in some matchups, like, I don't know, Muscular or something like that, they just stack damage. Just like, okay, I'll swap it, I'll take a poke, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not ever going to do necessarily the work it does in other decks where they're just nuking the speed and it's like, I'll take 0 type thing.
Yeah, it feels like it's only really good with things like Lineage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could certainly see cutting it. It was just one of those. It's a one-off. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's blank.
Yeah. How do you feel about Male Body Manly Passionate Guy?
Honestly, I think Male Body is probably just a better card. But this deck is I want to be blocking, so that's why I sort of had the split. Like, I think I want the 4 total of that effect.
Yeah.
But I think Male Bonding has proven itself to just be the generally better card.
I agree with you. Patient Observation at a 3 of, sorry. This card puts in work in your character. Does it deserve the 3 of spot?
It's been really good, actually.
Okay.
Like, it's been surprisingly good in my testing. Like, just -4. And then, sometimes that breaker comes up on the low block. It's a 6 check. Like each of the individual things aren't necessarily amazing, but as a package, it's done enough work. I mean, I can see cutting it to a 2, but that committed discard of momentum when we can basically get free momentum is pretty good.
I trust you. That was more me just asking of like what were your thoughts on this card? It's tough to be like, yeah, this card seems really, really good. Commit discard of momentum for -4 speed is a tall order until you realize that you just steal momentum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decoy duplicate only at the 2 of. Do you feel like you're missing this card at all?
I think I had it at a 3 and I cut it down to 2 simply to reduce 4 diffs because I want to play about 17 4 diffs in this.
I love it. I love it.
So that was one of those ones where I'd play 2 men and then probably the other 1 or 2 would be in the side.
Makes sense.
Because like Forced Quirk, I think has to be a 3 because it's been bonkers.
Sure.
I can't remember what the other one I was playing. I added I think I replaced the 3rd with a citywide crisis, which I don't own yet, but I think that's good enough to be a 1-of in here.
I agree. There should be a 1-of in every deck that plays these symbols. This card beats your own deck.
Yeah.
Playable, committed, beat your own deck, which is a reason. Like this card's gonna be 1-of in everything, which is a reason to having things like erase is very good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These numbers look good. So here is the deal, right? I think that your foundation lineup is good, right? There's if you were just like wipe my hands clean, I'm done with my foundation lineup, I'm down, right? I easily could see if we are going to go the take out tape swing put in jab route, we should take male bonding and push it up to a 3 of because it it builds in a card face down, possibly an attack. So picking it up with jab feels very good. As well as picking up other pieces. Take manly passionate, build it down to a 1-of. Because we're putting in jab, we can pick up the passionate guy and build it back in if we want to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
I think Saving Bakugo needs to be a 4-of. I'm a little nervous about. I guess you have plenty of these. How's Master's Pride working out for you?
So it's quite nice to sort of there was a bit of it that's kind of that 2 check sort of safety net, right?
Yeah.
I check a 2. Okay, I'll commit my Master's Prides. I'll get them into the end and ready them so I can defend rather than having to just commit 3 or 4, whatever.
Yeah.
I could see swapping the numbers on those.
Yeah, it could maybe just be swap these 2, just because like Saving Bakugo protects your defensive pieces, and I feel like the way that you stay alive on your board is to not get your stuff flipped. That'd be the only thing that I'd be nervous about, right? But like, and we're thinking about taking out this 2 check, and so like this card, I don't know if it sees less play, but like it is quote unquote less important, but it's also re-ready a foundation, which is just good, right? Especially when you're trying to play this as like a 7. Like there's moves here. The cards
I could even see just cutting the spam down if I'm losing the 2 check. Like I probably bloated the spam bit just because of that.
Sure.
So like I could see going to like 2 prides, 4 Bakugo, something like that.
So
and like freeing up a slot or 2.
A thing that I think that I'm gonna make a Tam Talk on as soon as I like get the inspiration and figure out how I want to put my words. I think because we're at set 4, I think spam is gonna go nuts, and I think spam is better than 2 diffs. I think the ability to pass and play your orange cards at this point in the game is better than whatever 2 or 3 diff you could possibly be playing. I am winning entire games off of the fact of I can just play attack cards. I don't need my stage to support what I'm doing, especially if my character pumps stats. If my character is able, if you're able to build 6 on turn 1, that's +2 damage on every single move for the rest of the game. Which is better than whatever Sense of Justice is doing. It's better than whatever Patient Defense is doing. Better than learning the standards because you're just killing them. And you don't have to play these cool defense disruption cards if they're dead, right? Which is a big mentality in the game at the moment. So like playing 0 diffs, playing playing these cards is really, really good, unless you want to play a staring match with your opponent where you are down to just like do nothing at them for the time being and eventually get there, which is where things like tape swing comes into play of like, I'll get there eventually. But that's not really what this lineup wants to do. This lineup wants to, I play a setup turn and I kill you, and I have to have the foundations to do both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bandwagon I'm more than happy to jump on board. Like, again, I'm a seven-hander at heart, really, so I love my spams.
Yeah. I don't like spooky in this deck. But if you're a fan of it, by all means, we can certainly play it. I love learning the standards. Go ahead.
I think spooky's an easy cut, really.
Yeah, I would just swap the spooky for dissolving, truthfully. Because I think that you'll just get more value out of the dissolving. Just because like it forces them to figure out, like, you go to 10, right? You've got 3 momentum. You've got enough foundations that you can defend yourself, and they play a move expecting you to dissolving, and you just commit all for one with it and pass, and just pass the block and full block it, right? Or block no damage, and then they can't play the next move because of dissolving, right? I think it does more than like you have to commit a bunch of resources in order to make spooky say negate an attack,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm with you.
Or you ready? Let's pretend it's not spooky. It could just be like another sense of justice, and I think you'll get more value out of it. Because like
that's a card I had like as a one-off originally, and I never saw it to really test it. And like I think it should be good, so I just wanted to put more in to just sort of see how the card plays.
This card is one of those like 90-10 cards where like if they're playing good stuff deck, this card is abysmal. If they're playing, a kick engine, if they're playing an engine, you just murder them, right? I will Sense of Justice your Reciprocal Burst is the third move. I'll commit it and it'll get -3 speed. That means it also got -3 damage. Okay, yeah, got me there, and then I'll block it or whatever. I like this card a ton. At the same time, this card works really well with spooky, and so like I think I can't. I am saying this so that you have it in your mind of like, man, spooky's not really getting there. Well, Tan told me to take it out, or Tan told me if I wanted to change my deck, here's the thing that I could. Here's my first button to press.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't changed a single card. We've been on the call for 20 minutes. So my first question to you: tape swing. Does it stay? Does it go?
I think we need to try it without it. Like, okay. I've liked it, but the 2 check has a bit of me in the bottom occasionally.
I want to put in Hardened Jab to just take its spot. Your block zone stays exactly the same, and you get a little more consistency. Male Bonding. Can I put it to a 3 of and Manly down to a 1 of?
Totally, yeah.
Love that. Again, your block zones haven't changed, and I like this spread for Void decks. Saving Bakugo, Master's Pride, could easily swap these numbers if you wanted to. Saving Bakugo says that it just depends on how much your locals wants to flip your stuff.
Yeah. I could easily see swapping them. Okay. I mean, the other thing about the Master Pride is it's got a bit of deadlock pressure, because I don't think I've got too much in here.
That is true. Yeah, there's not a ton.
I just think
there's literally none. This is it.
Yes, I don't think there's anything in the attacks, right?
No. Fruit of Our Labors is another absolutely insane deadlock. If you get that.
Again, I had that in the board originally.
How do I convince you to take Patient Observation down to a 2 of just to play another gotcha? Just for another spam so you can build 6 on 1.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm in. So this is a 2 of, and then this is a 4 of. We just want to build 1 million cards. From there, it's now what do you want to do with spooky?
Let's cut it. And again, it can be in the sideboard if it's like, again, it's going to be highly impactful, I think, in some matchups, but I think it can be in the board for that if needs be.
Sense of Justice or Dissolving the Conflict?
I think I'll go with the Sense of Justice now. Just from a purely, I want to see that card consistently and see how it feels. Like I sort of know what dissolving does. I don't necessarily know what sense of justice does. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We're still fresh in the we're still fresh in the format. You should definitely be testing stuff. With that said, man, I think that like you came in with a very solid plan, a very solid deck. I think there's a couple levers that you can press and move and test, and I hope that I was able to open up your brain a bit. You know?
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like, yeah, I think I was a bit too in love with the whole tape swing plan, um, and it probably isn't good enough. I do like the idea of Rising Engine Kick, and I think that's something I'd like to try once we get Plus Ultra 4 over here, which will probably be like June or
6 or
something.
7 years.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the other attacks I did look at like engine boost and stuff like that, but I didn't think it was any better than what I've got there. I suppose the only other question is it the right split between burst and acceleration kick? Because like, I felt like they sort of do the same thing in that finisher category.
I think that's I'm a big fan of 2 and 2, right?
Okay.
You probably, I know there are some people that go reverse what they are, 3 and 1. You said you play this deck at locals. Go play this deck your next week at locals with 1 reciprocal burst, 3 acceleration kicks, right?
Yeah.
How often are you getting rebound sidekick to pop off and work, right? Because sidekick acceleration kick is insane, but at the same time, so is sidekick reciprocal burst for like doing the same type of job. And so like it just really depends on where you're at. Of like how does the strategy work? I think 2 and 2 is a totally fine number. I think that's totally chill.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose the only other thing would be fusion, whether there's any space to put that in just as like extra speed. But because we pump the stats on the damage on the face, we don't necessarily have that sort of speed bonus just to maybe make a jab. I can't really do a jab, but like
it's things like taking force down to a 1 of, and then learning the standards down to 1 of, and just playing double fusion, which honestly wouldn't be bad. Or even like taking learning standards, putting it completely in your sideboard, and just like playing double fusion. Takes out a 2 diff, puts in a 1 diff, and then like it's very easy to just side out fusion in decks that like you don't care about speed, and you're just down to face tank stuff because you're 27 health, and then like you only have to block 1 thing, and then like toss back in learning the standards to be like I don't need to block this. I don't need the fusion here, you know?
Yeah, learning again was something I had at the board, and then it felt I wanted some amount of copies in the main.
Yeah.
But I don't think I want to watch sort of reduce force quirk like that and decoy duplicate have been the best things in here.
I totally
they are
get
both as good as printed as advertised.
Yeah. That would probably. I mean, that's the slot, right? Like, we're not allowed to cut saving. We're not allowed to cut duplicate. We're not allowed to cut Master's Pride. Force quirk activation could get away with a 2 of, but if you like the 3 of, then run it. And then learning the standard, like you can't cut these 2, right? And this is another a mid block. This is a 2 mid, so like you technically get to save on one mid block, or 1 mid block point. I don't know what was a value. 1 mid block value. I don't know. And it's a 1 diff, not a 2 diff. But like this card, I don't know how Dabi 2 beats this card.
Yeah.
Right. If you can successfully learn the standards Dabi 2, you just kill him. Like he can't get through it. Does fusion stop Dabi 2? Yeah, probably not.
There's enough things that learning's so good at. It's good against Bird. It's kind of okay against Ojiro. I think it's good enough to have 2 slots in the main. Okay.
I dig it. All right, man. Well, thank you for the support over on Patreon. Let me shoot you the link so you can get this copied over for you. Any last minute questions or qualms?
No, that's all good, man. Thank you very much.
Right, let's get it there. Thanks for the support as always. I wish you well.
Okay.